What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I'm going to go over the trades that we took today inside the Discord as well as the game plan going into tomorrow. So today was another really solid day. So going into today, we knew the market was neutral. I went over this in yesterday's video that all we were looking for today was a 0DT cross on either side of the premium. So on the call side or the put side, because when we look at the 30-minute charts here on both the puts and the calls, you can see 10 SMA below the 50 on the call side. And then same thing on the put side, 10 SMA below the 50 on the put side. And yesterday we end up, coming down to this major area of resistance. I went over this yesterday about how, when we're neutral, we tend to ping pong between the 50 SMA on the put side and the call side because we're in a neutral market and there's no trend. So when there's no trend, we kind of just go up and down in between the 50 SMAs until one side takes the trend. And then once we get the trend going, that's when we start to see that heavy direction. So today it was simple, 0DT cross either side. On the call side, we ended up crossing. So again, 10 SMA crosses above the 50 here on the 671 calls, and we end up getting a nice move out of it. Unfortunately, on NQ, if you trade futures, you probably wouldn't have taken a W on this just because NQ was a little bit weaker. So on this initial cross, this is where I entered. So I'm gonna pull up the screenshot. I ended up taking when I've been taking these crosses, I've been taking SPY options as well as futures because I have been trading options quite a bit recently. So this is the exact time I took it, right like at 10 o'clock, 10:01. We end up breaking above this 50 SMA here on SPY. So I know it hasn't crossed yet. There's still 4 minutes left on the candle, but you can see how aggressive this move was through the 50. The 50 sloped up. The 10's really close to the 50. This is pretty much bound to cross, and this is why I took my entry here. And yeah, we ended up getting like 50-60% on SPY on this initial move right here, and that's where I ended up trimming a good portion at. And then once we end up coming back down here, I kept holding until this 10 SMA held, and then once we lost the 10 SMA, I ended up closing the rest. And that was that, because NQ was actually so much stronger than SPY initially. And if I just pulled up the QQQ contracts really quickly, because I don't trade off of these, but I'm just pulling it up for reference, because NQ was already crossed off of the bat here, right off of open. So if we pull up the call side, you can see right off of open, this ended up crossing. So right at 9:30, 9:45, or 9:35, we end up crossing. You can see the strength on NQ right off the bat, and then it kind of died down a little bit as SPY crossed. So we didn't really get that move that we wanted, but it did provide a re-entry point. So as you guys know, in a neutral market, we don't grab the 50 SMA dips. So let me pull up the SPY contracts again. We don't grab the 50 SMA dips. So we pull this up. We got this move higher on the cross, then we pulled back, didn't hit the 50. But again, you don't buy this dip at the 50 just because we are neutral. So what you want to wait for is a reclaim of the 10. I told Discord you could take this. It looks pretty good. And we closed back above the 10, and then look at the move we got. We just trended up and up and up. So that, would have been the move that you could have caught today. Again, I don't know if I said this, but on this, when we lost the 10 SMA, I ended up losing, I think, 5 points on NQ. So really, really small loss. And then if you took the 10 reclaim, you would have been paid and been up like 45 points on the day. So, that's what you could have taken for SPY. Rest of the day, I wouldn't continue to trade. We're neutral. We're neutral. There's no trend in the market. At that point, after if you take those two trades, I would not be taking any more for the day. So, focus on your one good setup for the day. When you catch it, pack it up for the day. I wouldn't continue to trade. That's kind of just how I like to go about it. If there's a good two trade opportunity, I really wouldn't press the luck and go for a third trade. But I'd say 100% 2 trades a day max when it comes to futures, and that was what I did today when it came to SPY. So it's really simple, man. It's not complicated at all. You just have to know what you want to be looking for when it comes to the Friday contracts and then the 0DT contracts. Like today, we knew neither side was crossed. Again, it's very simple. Neither side was crossed, all right? And then, pretty much no bias going into the day. So we just look for a cross on the puts or the calls, and we got the cross on calls, so we entered longs, and there was no reason to be taking short today. There was no indication for me to take a short entry. We never crossed on puts, so calls pretty much had the intraday trend all day. So that's what we did when it came to SPY. On options, we took a few trades. So first one was actually a loser, IONQ. I'm actually pulling up this chart. I just want to see what it looks like, CRWV. I'd 100% keep this on watch. This is kind of a one I've been looking to take. I went over this, I think, a video or two ago, but we never got the cross back up in here. And then it's trying to get a cross going. I 100% would want to take this if we do get it, just because I know what the higher time frames look like and they're pretty bullish. So 30-minute cross tomorrow on CRWV, I'll be taking that one. But we took IONQ. So if we look here, this was a loser, small loser. Good thing about it. So IONQ, all we did was buy this dip at the 50. We ended up buying this dip. It popped up like 25-30%, and then it came back down. And once it started to break below the 50, I got out. I didn't wait for a candle closure. And I mean, even if you did, you probably wouldn't have lost that much. But I stopped out for like 15%, and that was that. I mean, it's pretty simple. These dip buys at the 50 are really high risk to reward, or whatever, low risk to reward. I don't even know what the correct word is, but you're risking a small amount to get high reward. So that's why I took it. Also, we had the higher time frames, I believe, crossed and sitting at the 50, so that's why I ended up taking it. And then, yeah, there's no higher time frame 50. So, yeah, that was our losing trade we took on IONQ, but then we ended up bouncing back here with SMCI. This one now, absolute heater. I mean, this was such a good setup, and the reason I liked it so much, again, going back to like the A-plus setups that we look for when it comes to taking a trade on individual stocks, it's when we have all the time frames crossing at the same time, right? So when we look here, when we look at the higher time frames, I mean, we had that 30-minute chart cross, and we had this 1 hour that was just crossing because actually it did cross back up in here, but again, we were sitting at that major support and the higher time frames. The 2-hour chart was sitting at the 50. 4-hour chart, this was the big one, was just crossing. This is why I like this so much. We just had this dip to the 4-hour 50, and the 4-hour 50 just appeared. That's why it's so like short. It just came on the chart today, I believe. So on that 4-hour 50, when we're just getting that cross in the 4-hour, that's telling me we're gonna see a big move, and it's likely we see that big move. So when we got this 30-minute cross here on SMCI, I entered down in here. Contracts, I think, were like 0.45. I grabbed the 58 calls, not the 60s, but I'm gonna show you what it looked like. I sent this to the Discord that I really like this. A really, textbook setup that we had on it. These are the A-plus setups that you want to be taking. And yeah, let me just find the screenshot and I'll drag it over. But these 30-minute crosses when the higher time frames are aligned are just really good setups. And yeah, so this is what it looked like at the time I entered, like right at 11. So look at the chart. 10 estimates just crossing above the 50 here. Higher time frames aligned, and look at the move. We're up, I think, like 90% at the moment on the 58 calls, holding the rest into tomorrow most likely, and that's probably going to be the day that I sell them tomorrow. So, yeah, I'd love to see a gap up on SMCI, and then I could just sell them right off the open. That'd be the best case scenario. But, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much just going to trail this 10 SMA most likely, and, it's already a winning trade. I trimmed half at, I think, like 70%, I believe. So, yeah, I'm just riding out the rest, and we're going to see what happens with that. I'm trying to figure out what other trade did we take today when it came to individual stocks. I have some other swings open at the moment. I've been holding Intel for so long. I know I mentioned that probably last week, but I've been holding Intel. I'm also in a few other individual swings when it comes to stocks. But, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what we did today, man. It's a simple game plan every day going into each day. It's the same game plan for tomorrow as today. We know the market's neutral. Again, I'm just going to go back, reiterate why, because this 10 SMA here is below the 50. We're not crossed. By crossed, I mean 10 SMA has to be above the 50, with the 50 being flat or curled up. Like back in here, we were crossed. Right now, we're not. 10 SMA is below the 50, so we're neutral over there on the call side. Same thing on the put side. Actually, these are the 0DT charts. I think I switched the contracts by accident to the 0DTs when I was showing you those. But, yeah, you can see on the 30-minute on the puts, 10 SMA below the 50. We're not crossed here, so we're neutral. At this point, all we have to look for tomorrow, cross on either side of the premium again. I mean, I kind of do favor the bulls. I'm not going to lie. At taking the trend, and it just has to do with the monthly contracts. They're sitting at a major like area here. I mean, this chart is pretty bullish. I mean, we bounce off the 50, reclaim the 10, and then now the 10 SMA is starting to straighten up. It's pointing up. 50 is getting this curl right down here. You can see I'm trying to zoom in on it, but that didn't really work. But you can see it curled up a little bit today. This chart right here is super bullish, and when we look like this, I just can't really be bearish. If the bears wanted to send this lower, then today or yesterday we would have crossed on the 30-minute chart and got that bearish trend and see the dump, but that never happened. So for now, I favor the bulls even though we are neutral. And I'm telling you, if this 30-minute chart crosses on SPY on the weeklies here on the Friday contracts on this 30-minute chart, they're going to want to hammer the longs, and I'd expect a solid move out of it just because what we look like on the monthly contracts. So yeah, but until that happens, I'm just going to be looking for a cross either side tomorrow. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. If you guys enjoyed, drop a sub. If you guys want to learn, join Discord down below. That's where all these trades are shared, and that's where I'm at all day, every day. So yeah, I'm out. Peace.